place that light is afraid to touch, where the monsters beneath your bed and hiding behind your fear refuse to travel. Do you dare? Is your mind capable of the sights you will see? Is your body prepared for the sounds you will hear? Is your spirit up to the challenge of what you soon may feel? If so, have a seat with the seductress of the dark, Sarah Terror, the Sultan of Sadism, Chunky Larry, and the Clown Prince of Fear, R.Lee Grind. This is the Ghoul Kids Table.
Greetings, fellow insomniacs, and welcome to the table. This is, of course, another episode of the Ghoul Kids Table podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and now on YouTube. I am, of course, your host. My name is Chunky Larry, and with me today is one of my favorite fucking people. He is the cause of coulrophobia in several states, and the Clown Prince of Fear himself, Grindy the Clown, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. R.Lee Grind. How you doing, my man?
Honk, honk, motherfuckers. You are too kind. And I love that I get to share this afternoon with one of my most favorite people.
Yeah, it's the midday meat train.
The midday meat train. I'm loving it.
we are missing a ghoul. Sarah, Tragic Roar, Sarah the Terra, Scara Terra, whatever you want to call her. She is indisposed. She's currently doing some assignment-y things, all in the love of the podcast and the love of the game. She's not going to be able to make it for our very first two episodes, but she's here in spirit. And ladies and germs, we're gonna have a very spirited discussion. But speaking of spirits, R.Lee, what's in your glass?
Oh, what is in my glass? Well, I call this delightful little concoction an Artini, named after Art the Clown. It's not a traditional martini, but as you can see, it's very dark. It's Kraken black rum, vanilla vodka, and I topped it with nitro Pepsi. Smooth, creamy, easy to drink. It just works. It works so good. It tastes so delightful. And probably have more than one of these while we're talking.
Well, I hope so. It'll definitely make the conversation more interesting, or your service will just magically disappear.
What happened?
Cheers, motherfucker.
Oh, Hong Kong, motherfucker. Cheers. But for those of you listening, watching, whatever, I'm going to show you how to make the Artini on the next episode of Top Shelf 4. Everyone can enjoy it. It's very simple.
It's like Ratatouille, everybody can cook. Yeah. Everybody can be an alcoholic. It's very easy to accomplish. It's not a very hard task. It's like the easiest thing ever.
Oh, especially with me, because I get excited about making these drinks. And what I love about doing Top Shelf 4 and what I enjoy most is that I can tie it into a movie, and that's super fun. It just makes the drink that much more enjoyable. So, yeah.
And if you're here on YouTube and watching this video, you can see a couple of his videos already on how to make Mother's Milk, how to make the My Soul to Take, and how to make Walking with Angels. Lots and lots of fun. There will be constant updates on that, so definitely, make your way into that part of the YouTubes. But man, I would have been so upset if you weren't here for this episode, because this is a grindy special right here. Of all the stuff that we've talked about, because you weren't here for Glorious and I told you when we talked after, I was like, yeah, you totally should have been here for Glorious. It's a glory hole that leads to outer space, basically.
But let's talk. Can I just say it was such a fun film to watch? Like I really, really liked that one.
It's a fucking wild picture.
Oh, it's so wild. And the insurance guy. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I think? His voice was
J.K.
perfect.
Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, thank you. His voice was perfect for that role. Like the minute I heard it, I was like, I want to trust you, but I don't know if I should.
Yeah. But again, like I said, this is one of those movies that we're gonna probably just gush over for the next hour. So spoiler ahead to what our ghoulies are going to be for this, but it's pretty much what you're going to expect. One of us is a clown, and the other loves fucking gore. So we are going to be talking about Terrifier 2, and the way that we do that is by going to the IMDb's and reading you a synopsis for Terrifier 2. In Miles County, Art the Clown is mysteriously revived in the morgue and kills the coroner in the beginning of his. That's a shittily written fucking synopsis. We're going to move on to a different one.
Yeah, let's move on to,
Kind editor, cut that out. Don't even worry about cutting it out. Fuck it. Let's let whoever wrote that know that I judged him harshly.
That's not going on the cutting room floor.
No, that's bullying that stays in the show.
This man!
After being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night.
So, did you figure out what you're dressing up as tomorrow?
He wants to dress up as a real guy who murdered 9 people last year.
Oh, you're not doing that.
It's just a costume. You think that guy's still out there?
What's up with you and this clown all of a sudden? You're like obsessed.
They never found his body. What if he decides to come back here?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Wait a minute, aren't you that guy from the costume shop?
Sir, what are you doing?
It wasn't me.
He was covered in blood on his shirt and his hands when he got here.
I'm telling you, it was him, Allie. Right down to the little black dot on the tip of his nose.
You're really weird, you know that?
I believe him.
About what? Something really bad's gonna happen tonight.
No, I know when Jonathan's lying, okay? I could hear it in his voice. Something's wrong.
Look, we're gonna have fun. Stress-free environment.
Yep.
Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today, all the way from Miles County. Please welcome Art the Clown.
And for a movie that goes for nearly 2 hours, it still feels kind of quick and to the point. Like
Yes.
there's no I don't know how you feel about this, but I watching this film, I didn't feel like there was any kind of lulls in the story in terms of pace and movement. And a lot of the time when you're talking about Terrifier, you automatically compare it to the original Terrifier, or All Hallows Eve, where the short that introduced Art the Clown came. All of those comparisons have to be made. It's a third part of a series.
Right.
And in my opinion, this one, where I felt like in All Hallows Eve, it's just kind of like scary imagery for the sake of scary imagery. And in Terrifier, I felt like it was just trying to get to the point, and just trying to like circumvent all of that pesky story to get
Yes.
to Art the Clown kills people.
Right.
And
Right.
and that was one of the big kind of complaints that I had about Terrifier originally when I'd seen it, is that there's not a whole hell of a lot in regards to the storytelling platform of, you know, Art the Clown as a killer. He goes around and he fucking hunts people, but it's never for any particular reason or anything. And I feel at least that there's an attempt of wanting to make it make sense, even though it still kind of doesn't make sense. It it makes sense, you know. And they set up this thing with Sierra's fucking dad, who's this artist who draws all these images that take place through the course of the first Terrifier and then Terrifier 2. So it's like self-fulfilling prophecies, or just a vision that he sees in his dreams that are coming to be. And so like, what did you think about the in terms of the addition of this story element that wasn't there?
So I will say though, I'm a fan of the slow burn. So
Mhm.
Terrifier 1 for me was it paid off uh very, very well. And I really enjoyed that one. And when you compare the two films, this one almost jumps right into it, and then you're given these hints, these clues into a much bigger, broader story, which I also enjoy, because it's not just killer clown attacks townfolk. Now we have a little more mystery. Now we have we've got the, I guess you could call him, clairvoyant father
Uh,
who's recently passed, and it adds more mystery to the character of Art the Clown, and for me that makes him more intriguing. It's kind of think I look back to the original It miniseries,
mhm.
um, as you have these kids trying to figure out what this thing is. We're kind of getting a little smidge of an element of that in this one, which just draws me more and more to that character. Like, I want to know, what is this entity that brings him back? What is this entity that keeps him going? And if it's never revealed, I'm still okay with it, because I just love the character. I love the brutal ways in which he conducts his business.
And one of my biggest complaints in terms of these franchises is that their constant need to explain things. And it gets to a point, and I've talked this to death because we talked about the Halloween franchise, that there's too much of a disposition that you have to explain these things, that there's too much of a focus on that, and it's to the detriment of the overall story, because the more that you explain it, the less scary it is. You know, it's much scarier to think this is just a force of nature that is just wreaking havoc.
It's
And go ahead.
Oh, for me, it's kind of like the Jason Voorhees. I mean, I know he drowned and his mother, and like, but it's never really explained like how he keeps returning from the dead, and and is able to do these things.
Every time
He
they try to, it's shit too, by the
Right,
way.
right. But it's one of those phenomenons where, hey, we're gonna throw in an explanation. If it takes, it takes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to beat this horse over the death with it. And we just want to see a hockey mask killer do his thing. Same with Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Like you could say he opened up that he was like an actual performer, and he opened up the lament configuration, and this is a Cenobite form, and and guess what? I'm there for it. I am totally there for it. Okay, yeah, let's go with that. I don't care. Let's get back to Art doing his thing, and I I enjoy that aspect of this budding franchise.
I really like David Howard Thornton's interpretation of the character Art the Clown as well, because he took on the role with Terrifier. He wasn't the original killer in All Hallows Eve. He was a different actor, and David Howard Thornton came in because the original actor did not want to continue to do the character. And I've had the opportunity to speak with him, and he is a phenomenal performer. He's so like, for somebody, and that's one of the things that's really hard to convey, is that somebody that doesn't speak is able to create this character that's fully fleshed out. And the same thing could be said for the little pale girl. She is nightmarish without saying a single word, though they do have her do the Terminator 2 thing, which I fucking love. We last night before recording this, we did a stream of Terrifier 2 in the Discord, and when she's calling Sierra as the brother, I said in the comment section, "What's wrong with Wolfie?" Because that's immediately what I thought.
Right? Yeah. No, it's you bring up that point of Terminator 2. Throughout this film, you can see where Mr. Leon, is that how you pronounce it? Leon?
Damien Leon.
Leon. I want to make sure I pronounce it right because I'm a huge fan. Wow, you're blowing me away here with this stuff. Wow. But there's all these like subtle nods to other horror movies throughout Terrifier 2. A little bit in one, but definitely in Terrifier 2. I absolutely loved it. And going back to his performance, Art the Clown, this is someone that is acting incredibly well with his eyes. And that just that you see the joy, you see the amusement, you see the anger, you see that sinister. When he tilts his head down and just kind of he does the what do they call that?
The Kubrick stare.
The Kubrick stare. Like
Yeah.
he nails it so incredibly well. And I am absolutely blown away. So another actor that I think does a really good job of showing, of acting without speaking, like Kane Hodder as Jason.
Yes.
Does a fantastic job. Like you kind of feel who that Jason is. I keep referencing Friday the 13th. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know,
it's no franchise November, and I'm breaking all the rules.
It's actually December 1st, so you're good, dude. You're all good.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. We're gonna drop them. We're gonna drop them. Back to franchises.
Because I'll tell you what, and I'm sure that this has been said before, but I'm gonna say it here. Terrifier is one of the new generation franchises. I'd say it's like that. I'd say it's the Hatchet series, and to a lesser extent, like
Firefly
Don't
Family.
Breathe. Which one?
The Firefly family.
Firefly Family as well, but again, less so. I feel like with Art the Clown and Victor Crowley specifically, they have all of those earmarks. Like they are very reminiscent of the Michael Myers, the Jasons, the Freddy Kruegers. They have that element to them, and they're being made by people who grew up with this style of film as their interpretation of what horror was. Very much so like the filmmakers of the 80s, grew up with the horror films of the 50s, where it's, sci-fi and kind of these monster movies, and you see those elements in things like, Night of the Creeps, and in a lot of Carpenter's films, it's obviously representative of the stuff that he came up enjoying, and he's putting his own spin on it. And that's what I see with specifically the Terrifier franchise and the Hatchet franchise, is that they're both doing something that feels reminiscent of a bygone era, but they're making it inherently their own. And that's super fucking important in terms of, you creating something new for a new generation, because it's been they've tried to do it before. They tried to do it in the 90s with like Candyman, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, Urban Legend. Those didn't really take because they were corporate manufactured and kind of safe. These movies aren't fucking safe, and horror movies shouldn't be safe. There's certain unspoken rules that I feel like both of those films tend to try to break. So like with the first Terrifier, your lead actress, or at least who you thought was the lead, is dispatched halfway through the movie in very, very clear fashion. Like it's almost like, no, I think she's gonna survive. No, she's not
Nope.
surviving that. So
So you brought up a really good point about the 90s. The 90s felt very copy and paste.
mm,
Hey, we got this formula. It worked for certain movies. Let's keep it going. And then 80s had a very similar feeling of everyone just kind of mimicking one another. But a few of those movies, obviously, the cream rises,
mhm.
and those definitely did so. And now we've kind of had this lull of iconic characters. But like you mentioned Victor Crowley, we have Art the Clown, and
Sam from
I know
Trick or Treat.
Sam from Trick or Treat, and I know you're gonna say maybe not so much, but like Captain Spaulding, especially, like he has a cult following.
Yeah, of
Rest in
course.
rest in peace, Sid. Love you.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting the character tattooed on you, there's got to
I
be
do.
something visually fucking appealing to that character.
Right.
And, I'm not a fan of him, but the Pennywise in the new It series has its audience, has people that fucking, that's their Pennywise. And it it's an evocative image that people can glom onto and associate it with something, and that's important. And I look at things like, have you ever seen The Barn?
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's another perfect example of the effort being made to try to create monsters for a newer generation, but still kind of harkening back to something that existed previously.
Right.
Previously on horror.
So, and if you look at the history of horror, kind of starting with the universal monsters, you have Frankenstein's monster, Dracula. We had these icons, these immediate icons, and then through the 60s and 70s, you didn't have. I mean, you had a couple that kind of jump out, but for the most part, there's no iconic image to associate with that decade of horror film. Then you had the 80s come. 80s came about, and they were like, nope, we are going to create icons. And they did. Yeah, Freddie, Jason, Michael.
The cool thing about the 80s too is that there were tiers of icons.
Yes.
So you had, your Michael Myers, your Jason, your Freddy's, but then you had things like the Puppet Master series, Chucky,
Hellraiser.
There's levels of icons. They're all iconic in their own way, but that there's a pecking order and there's a level to where those characters kind of reside. And you know, I'm just personally happy that we're getting kind of a return to that.
It's a resurgence of identifiable characters that the character themselves build a fan base.
Mhm.
Like you got Fred heads, you got Jason fans, you got Michael Myers fans, um, you know. But now we're getting that resurgence, and we have new characters to latch onto. Like I'm a huge fan of Art the Clown for obvious reasons. I love clowns. I love killer clowns, and this is like right up my fucking alley. But even for people who may not have that same, what's the word? Not
Attachment?
fetish, not fetish, not attachment, but that same love for clowns. Like you have, oh goodness, you have people that are uh, freaking out over Art the Clown as the next Freddy, Jason, Michael. Trying to think of who else, Chucky. I get. Well, I mean, Chucky's still kind of going now with this new series, but you've created. Mr. Leone has created this new iconic character, and people are attracted to that. And he, uh, Sergeant Octopus, who does the artwork for the Cool Kids table, he recently made a TikTok like, who would you put on that on the new pantheon of horror? Art the Clown was definitely on my list,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he was on a lot of people's lists. I think he was actually on Sergeant Octopus's list too, because you have this amazing, vicious character that comes to life for you in these three films, and even more so in Terrifier 2. What's there not to love? This is everything that all us 80s kids, that's what we want. And we've been given it on a silver
Now,
platter.
here's one thing I will say that's probably going to sound derogatory about Terrifier. It feels very Instagram filtery.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm
You
glad you brought that up.
you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, from a cinematography perspective. So a lot of cinematographers, and I should say that this more in the digital age than the film age. In the digital age, a lot of cinematographers try to adhere to a certain look, and you know, all praise Lord Roger
Carpenter.
Deakins. No, no, Roger Deakins. Actually, I'm going to go Roger Deakins. You can watch a film by Roger Deakins and know it was filmed by Roger Deakins. It just has that feel, has that look. And I think, and even Rob Zombie utilizes a couple cinematographers, but they create that same look, that same style. When it comes to Terrifier, we get that blue, that real vibrant, almost teal, that almost teal blue, and we get these like rich golds and everything else, and it does feel like an Instagram filter. But I think this is a director and cinematographer working together to create a this is our style, this is our look. Obviously, I like to use a lot of blue when I light myself. Dean Cundy, the Dean Cundy blue that
Yes.
we saw through the 80s. This one, and I don't mean to knock anybody who might listen to this, but I know a few photographers that like to use that same filter. They use that same look on all their photography. I like it. I love it. I'm partial to it, but I know that it can be kind of, I don't know quite how to say this, but it almost takes you out of the movie. I can see where it could almost take you out of the movie. Like it
It's
looks
like it's going for a VHS aesthetic.
yeah, but not having that same feel.
Yeah, and it's like you're going out of your way to ugly up your picture to make it feel reminiscent of something of a bygone era
Yeah, it's got
rather
kind of that
than yeah,
retro 80s look. And and I think it's a little overutilized in this one.
yes,
A lot actually.
a lot of grain
Yeah.
just for the sake of grain.
But for me, and this is just a personal preference, I like that.
Yeah,
I like those vibrant colors. I mean, look at me right now. I've got this like orange pink going on. I got the blue going on. I like that. That's my style, so it appeals to me. I can absolutely understand how it would be off-putting to other viewers. Like they're like it just looks unnatural. It looks like a movie.
yeah.
It doesn't look real.
Though the argument could also be made that we're too preoccupied with making fantasy feel real, and that this is a fantasy. We're going through fantastical places where things aren't necessarily what would realistically happen, and so it allows you to kind of take that disassociation from reality and just kind of go on the journey. But I will say, on that contrast, all of the stuff where it's in the house and at the school feels very fucking lush and soft, and it really fucking works. Even the scene where they're playing with the possum in the hallway, which they have the no running in the hallway reference.
Yeah.
I love that. They
I knew you would. I knew you would
another
appreciate
one
that.
is they have the boyfriend dressed up like Bob from Halloween, which again love that.
Yes.
uh so there's certain stuff that it's like, you know it it feels very member berries, where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of cheating, but look it, remember this, remember remember
Remember
Halloween.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
remember remember the scene in Nightmare on Elm Street.
So so when we have Art the Clown in a lot of his scenes, we get this like crazy lighting effect happening,
Yeah,
which kind of makes it more fantastical. But that's reminiscent of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. So
night
when they're
phrased nightmare specifically.
yeah, when they're in the real world, I
Mhm.
guess you could say, um, everything's, you got just flattering, naturalistic light. But then once they jump into that dream world, um, uh, you have one scene that's all like black and white, which I absolutely love. I'm just partial to black and white myself. But even in the oh god,
The Clown
why am I
Cafe.
oh, Clown Cafe?
Oh,
Um,
so nice looking.
let's talk about the Clown Cafe first.
Yes, yes.
So that is this weird transition from normalcy to extreme, like in a matter of seconds. You still have that filter applied. It's still kind of unnatural looking, but the lighting doesn't feel that unmotivated. Like everything, it for me, the whole Clown Cafe thing, it makes sense. It feels inherently right for that. We've got these bright lights, bright white lights coming through with a slight teal hue. The reds are very vibrant. The blues are very. I mean, all the colors are very vibrant in this scene, and
Did you
it's
get any feeling of you saw Nope, right?
oh yeah. Unlike some people, I enjoyed Nope. I did. I liked that movie a lot.
I thought it was
Um,
good. I don't think it was as great as some people would made it out to be. But I did enjoy it. But watching this scene, I watched Nope like maybe a week or two right before I had watched this. And so I immediately thought about the whole fucking sequence where the ape goes ape shit. And you know, then Art the Clown comes out and he goes fucking ape shit.
Ape shit.
And
Yeah.
it's dude, I love how he fucking just pulls the fucking gun out and he's just rips fucking people apart. And then the kid who's eating the cereal, he's just like coughing up blood.
Oh my god. So that is probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie. I absolutely love every millisecond of this scene, from the heart to setting people on fire to the Tommy gun, which and I know I made this reference in the Discord during the streaming or screaming, however you want to call that. That whole Tommy gun scene instantly went to Home Alone.
Yes.
And Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
And a happy new year.
Happy New Year. But just so much. There's so much going on in that scene. I could
so
probably
surreal.
spend an hour talking about it.
I love how the chick, when she gets lit on fire, just keeps playing
Keep
that
playing.
fucking song like the band on the Titanic. She's just
So did that not give you some Nightmare on Elm Street vibes?
yes.
It right? It's like
Yes.
he's giving a complete, like, he's not even nodding. He is bowing and saying, Nightmare on Elm Street, you inspired me. And I fucking love that.
Mhm.
I like, there's so much to love about this film.
Speaking of something to love about this film, I want to just take a couple of minutes, if I may, and talk about Lauren Rivera. Holy fucking shit, dude. I've never seen her in anything else. I don't know about you, but she
No, I
came
haven't.
out of fucking left field to me, and she's just phenomenal in this movie. And again, uh, the testament of a final girl to me is a transition. You should be able to go on the journey with that character from the person who she is in the beginning to the person who she is at the very end of the film. And there's something haunted and kind of broken by her about her, that comes into play, and you learn more about that through her backstory. And it's done in expository dialogue with her friend, whose name is, was it not Dawn, right? Is it Dawn or is it Tara?
Oh, which friend?
The
The
one that Cosby's her ass.
oh yeah.
Because that's totally cool, right?
Oh.
That's totally like, we do this amongst friends. We just drug each other, it's totally fine, right?
Wasn't her name Brooke?
Was it Brooke?
Was it? I think it was Brooke. I'm gonna have to look this up because
Brooke, yes, I just looked it up.
Okay, yeah, it's Brooke. So, and I'm in the Midwest. I grew up in the Midwest.
Mhm.
Brooke was such a fitting name for her because every Brooke I know is just like her.
I'm not gonna make a comment about that.
No offense to any Brooks out there that are listening.
That is kicking a hornet's nest right there. I
I'm
know
sorry.
enough Brooks to know you don't throw shade at Brooks.
I'm gonna throw some shade at the Midwest Brooks. Look, East Coast and West Coast Brooks may be cool as fuck.
No.
Midwest Brooks.
That's dangerous shit you're doing, man. You're playing with fire like that guitarist in the Clown Cafe.
Look, you can find me on TikTok, R.Lee Grind. We can have a discussion.
Moving on, back to Lauren Rivera. She has this quality to her in every single scene that she's in. She captivates the screen, and you're just like, yo, I want to fucking hear what she has to say. And even when she's not talking, and it plays up on that idea of cosplayers. And I think it does that in a very kind of real and subtle way where it's, the shit that they have to endure. Like when Brooke and her boyfriend are sitting there and they're rambling on about how great her costume is, and she just feels uncomfortable, and I can only imagine that, that's most of the horror conversations that those people have is, oh my god, I love your work, you must have spent months doing this. And it's like, yeah, cool, bro. Like, just say you like it and keep it pushing, or bring up another topic. How many times do you think I've answered this question, this exact fucking question,
Right.
today?
Something that appealed about her to me was that innocence, that
Mm,
transition from innocence to, spoilers alert, to complete and total fucking badass.
dude.
When you say final girl, and I know that term is thrown out uh, very loosely nowadays, um, and I'm not throwing shade at any final girls,
I will.
but but Laurie Strode had her ass saved in the first two Halloweens by Dr. Loomis.
Mhm.
So she's not really a final girl. I mean, she is, but she isn't. But this is like almost an Ellen Ripley, you
I can
know.
see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like, hey, I'm just here to do my job. I'm just here. I'm put in an extraordinary situation, so my actions are gonna match that. And I fucking love that about her. And she defines, if you look up Final Girl, this is one of those characters that should define Final Girl.
Hmm.
Like this should be a
And
reference.
it's so funny because when we were putting the Ghoulies together, I half thought to put her in, but I hadn't seen the movie yet.
Right, right. I know, and it sucks because the movie, oh, because I really honestly think that she would have won it.
Yeah, she's one of the strongest, to me, final girls of this year. I would
She,
say it's her and the actress from Prey.
I mean, so you look at these, I guess this new generation of Final Girl,
Mhm.
and like a movie I really enjoy, Your Next. You have
Yes.
Erin from Your Next, Sarah from The Descent. Like that's that to me is a final girl, not, oh, I just survived.
Mhm.
It's the people that fight. It's the women that fight back, and the women that are like, you know what, you are not taking me without a fight. And with Sienna in this movie, I fucking love that. And not only that, she jumps on her brother to protect him from the lashings that Art is like.
Yes. I
That's
fucking love that shit.
that's fucking badass. You just achieved a new level of badassery. Like you never ever see. I will say. I mean, Freddy versus Jason, Kelly Rowland. She tried to do that shit. It didn't really end up well for her. But
Well,
but
I mean, it was the slur she threw out. Like, who knew
Ooh.
that wasn't gonna age well, right?
Ooh. Yeah. But again, it's that level of, oh, I'm going to actually do something, not just run away and try to survive. I'm going to try and protect.
Mhm.
And that's why, like Sienna, she deserves some fucking accolades for for the way she portrayed this character. And she did. She went from complete innocence and vulnerability to just badass in a 2 hour time.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
respect it.
it's
Gotta
it's
respect it.
enjoyable to watch.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the gore for a little bit. I think that it needs to be discussed because the level of violence in this film is cartoonish but hyper realistic at the same time, which is, it's a fun balance to walk. And the same could be said for the first Terrifier, but in this one there are moments where it's like almost comedic how excessive it gets.
So I like to think of the gore in this film as Spinal Tap. Oh, all these go to 10. We're gonna go to 11. And mine goes to 11, and
Because it's 11.
because it's 11. And I felt the same way you did about the gore, and it. People will be like, "Oh, well, it's a little over the top." I myself have experienced real life gore,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. There were some moments in that I'm like, "That's not too far off. That's almost spot on." Like it, and that was incredible to me. And I love that they were all practical, no CGI.
Yes, I hate that term. I've said it before. I feel like practical is a minimization of what special makeup effects are.
Yeah,
And I feel like there's this weird place where we had that transition where we stopped calling it special effects and we started calling it practical.
practical.
And it's to me the induction of computer generated effects, which seem more practical, if we're being terribly honest, than somebody making makeup effects that like the mom's head getting blown off. It reminded me of Maniac. Like I'm a sucker for shotguns to the head. I don't know what that
Tom
is about me.
Savini. Hell
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but like you give me a good fucking shotgun to the head. Wow, that sounds weird.
Calm down, Kurt Cobain. Calm down.
Easy.
Easy, Kurt Cobain.
Easy. Get that toe off that tree. But yeah,
By the way, Courtney totally did it. Courtney did it. Cancel us.
Oh god damn it. But yeah, that scene's so goddamn effective. And again, they do it in a way that you see the head kind of blow off of the shoulders, but then you also see that clump of hair kind of hit the wall. Oh, I fucking love that shit. And the mashed potato scene.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh, okay. So I don't know if I should share this. I've seen what happens when something bigger than a shotgun hits someone in the face, like in real life. And that's one of those moments that I was like, that's almost spot on. Like shotgun, but if it were a little bit higher caliber and a different, weapon system, it looked pretty fucking real to me. Like I had a little bit of a flashback. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And it worked. It was so effective. And we think of it as almost comical, but there's also that element of reality in it that some people will actually say, oh shit, that was good. And it was beautiful. It was beautifully done. Speaking of when the one friend in the bedroom gets it,
Dude,
that did not stop. It just kept going.
He brought in bleach and salt, bro.
Right.
It's just like,
I was like,
no, I'm not done.
I was like, you can't top it. Oh, wait, what? What? Bleach and salt? Oh, fuck.
That was like the Family Guy chicken fight.
Oh my
This
god.
level of excess. Just like every time you turn around, you're like, okay, this is over. No, it's not over.
It's not over there. But wait, there's more.
Then the mom comes home and her fucking face is like gone, and you see the teeth.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude. Oh, yes. Fucking lovely shit right there.
And then should we talk about taking a leak?
Please do.
Oh my god.
Please do.
I don't know what your reaction was, but the first time I saw it, I like physically grabbed myself and I was like, oh, Like I felt that. I felt
Hashtag
that in
just
my
the tip.
loins. Oh shit. God.
Mm, mm,
And I should have seen that coming. We all should have seen that coming, but I don't think we did
mm.
until he was oh fuck.
The most horrific thing in that whole movie, though, was Art the Clown naked. You're not going to work out at all.
I was distracted at the end of that scene, and I was like, how the fuck did he get his white so fucking white? Like that's not you're not using OxyClean. You're using what is your secret? What is your secret, Art the Clown?
He did also magically heal his head wound. So you know,
Little
you're
help
like,
from supernatural forces.
yeah, it's supernatural soap. Hashtag supernatural soap configuration.
Oh, I love it.
Fucking let's Ghoulie this bitch. What do you say?
I am so ready to ghoulie this bitch.
Why don't you go first then?
Okay. So because it has clowns, it automatically like just jumped up. And I'm a clown fan. If it's got a clown, even if it's a horrible movie and it's got clowns in it, I'm gonna appreciate it because I love the imagery.
Mm.
Acting was spot on. Like there were some incredible acting moments. There were a few, not so much. Looking at you, Mom. Looking at you. That was a little dialed in. But overall, I give this a 4.5. Top half.
What? Top half.
Top
Okay.
half. Top half.
Okay.
4.5.
Bibs.
Top half, babes.
Total
4.5. 4.5 ghoulies out of 5.
I'm coming in with the exact same amount of ghoulies. I'm gonna go bottom half though. So we're getting some tits and ass because we get a little bit of tits and ass in this, and I appreciate that. I feel like this is a perfect companion to Terrifier, but it's also an accentuation of the places that it goes in the first film. I think that, the first film, while it has a lot of merits and a lot of things that are positive about it, that this one adds elements that were missing from it that make it a more complete film. And you're watching the maturation of one of the great filmmakers of the horror genre right in front of your eyes. Like, if you're one of the people that have been following along from the beginning, every single film he's improved. And this is this is an absolute like victory lap of a film in a way. And I can only imagine what Terrifier 3 is going to bring, because there's for sure going to be a Terrifier 3. There has to be.
There needs to be a Terrifier 3.
It goes without saying that Terrifier 3 should absolutely fucking be a thing.
And this is how you build a franchise too. He is perfectly building a franchise.
You make people want it still.
Yes.
And it's not like, oh well, I recognize that name, I'm going to see it. This movie took audiences by complete surprise, because there's a contingent of people that liked Terrifier, but it wasn't like mainstream popular or anything like that. This one had fucking Stephen King talking about it, Howard Stern talking about it, Jerry O'Connell on his shitty TV show talking about it, like tons of fucking people who are just like run-of-the-mill fucks, just like, wow, this Terrifier 2 thing is really fucking crazy. Art the Clown is going to become an iconic member of the horror lexicon. And we talked in this episode a lot about characters like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. Art the Clown is being uttered in the same breath as those characters, and that is no small feat. That is a testament of what they did with this film. I think that they set the stage with All Hallows Eve. They ascended from that with Terrifier, and this is just like kicking the door down. And I am, as a horror fan, as a gore fanatic, and as a greedy little fucking fat kid, I'm just eagerly awaiting the next step of this filmmaker's evolution. um I think it's a fucking brilliant piece of work. I think that this will obviously not be everybody's cup of tea because of its subject matter, and it's still not your traditional fucking horror story. The way that a film is paced out, it's not built like your traditional fucking horror films, but that works in its benefit, not in its detriment. It disassociates from a lot of those things while still feeling familiar to all of those things, and that is ultimately one of the most important things about this film, is that it manages to differentiate itself from the pack. And that's the hardest thing to do, I feel, especially with, again, we talked about it to death. There was this whole wave in the 80s, a decade, where that's just what it was, and it's gone away. But with this, you feel it coming back, and that feeling is, it's thrilling. So
It really is. It really is. And I'd like to also point out that this film was made for $250,000.
and it made
turned
10
around
million
$10 million.
$10
$10
million
mil.
dollars off of 250.
Like this is a giant success for everyone involved in this project.
Mhm.
And like yourself, I cannot wait to see what else they can do. I hope that Mr. Leone stays with art for a bit, but I also want to see what else he can do.
Yeah,
I would
agree.
love to see him branch out and tell different types of stories. And I think he's going to, as long as there's gore involved, he's going to be able to bring it. And he made a fan out of me.
Mhm. So we're going to start to get out of here. But before we do, I just want to give you guys a kind of breakdown of places where you can find us. And this is the point where on YouTube, people are fucking running for the hills. So it doesn't fucking matter. Fuck them. You can definitely follow us on TikTok. We're at Ghoul_kids_table. We're on Instagram at GKT Podcast. We're on Twitter at Ghoul Kids Table, and we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Ghoul Kids Table. On YouTube, like I said, I mentioned it earlier on, there's other content aside from these episodes that you can enjoy. Top Shelf Horror is there for your enjoyment. I do the history of horror, so there's some of those there.
And I just want to interject. I want to interject real quick.
Go ahead.
That history of horror is phenomenal. Like this, that is some quality shit right there. Y'all need to check that out. I fucking love it. I love it, and it gives the viewer or listener a little perspective into the films that we're discussing. So, bravo,
and I'm still hard pressed to think of what I'm going to do for history of horror with this. But I kind of have an idea, so we'll see. Stay tuned. But where can they find you personally, R.Lee?
You can find me on Instagram at Boris von Frankenberry. Like the cereal. And you can find me on TikTok at R.Lee Grind.
And if you wanted to find me personally, Creature Pod's the way to go. Pretty much on everywhere except TikTok, apparently. There you got to go to Creature Backup because, your boy,
Yeah. Do we want to discuss that for you?
No need.
No need. But to be fair, I think you made a legitimate argument.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely. That banning was unnecessary.
It sure was. I made some salient points, goddammit. I thought that would be enough. These motherfuckers, I swear. But anyway, we are going to get out of here, you guys. Thank you so very fucking much for sticking out and hanging out and talking Terrifier with us. Definitely go to R.Lee's link tree on his TikTok at R.Lee Grind. Join the Discord. That is always a good way to hang out with ya boys and ya girl. Every Saturday we do the Saturday night screaming room, where we screen a horror film, where you can enjoy horror films with the Ghoul kids. That's a fun thing to do, and it's completely free. It's just for funsies. We like watching horror movies. No shit. Duh.
and don't be too surprised if R.Lee forgets to mute the conversation. Goddamn. We're sitting here planning out family vacation. Shit. Everyone's here.
Get dresses out and shit. Geolocations, like, hey, if you want to find R.Lee Grind, I'll be at this place at this specific time.
Jesus. Well, that will not be happening. I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure. That will not be happening again.
I'm about 70% sure.
It works 60% of the time, all the time.
Oh. All right. But for R.Lee Grind, for the band Tragic Roar, and for myself, again, my name is Chunky. This has been another episode of the Ghoul Kids Table podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll see you next Thursday.
Drop on by the Clown Cafe, your favorite meals on wheels. The menu is disgusting and it's full of special deals. Nothing here is good for you, so grab yourself a tray, 'cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe.